Hello! I don't know what to do for this intro. But, we're reacting to something from The Lost Narrator, and I don't really have any really reaction videos I've done on The Lost Narrator. The closest I've come to that is with her Cupcakes fanfic reading, which that was just a rewatching, not like a whole blind reaction. But this time, we're gonna have a blind reaction, and it's going to be a grimdark. Yes! I know absolutely nothing about this. All I know is that Rarity is in here, and that it's a grimdark, and I love grimdarks, so hallelujah. Yes. It's been quite a while. It's been quite a while since I've...
Never before had Pinkie Pie been so eager to see a party finally end.
Oh, it's Pinkie Pie.
She had put on her very best and very brightest hostess smile as she watched her costumed guest slowly trickle out the front door of Sugar Cube Corner.
Okay.
Twilight carried a sleeping Spike upon her back, the two of them dressed as a dragon and knight, respectively.
I don't know why, but when I heard Spike, I thought literal Spike as in the pointy thing and not the dragon.
While Applejack herded the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Applejack was dressed as a scarecrow, just as she did every year, while the Crusaders were the Three Musketeers. Pinkie overheard something about a sleepover at the Crusaders' treehouse. Quickly became distracted by the superhero costumed Rainbow Dash,
sleepovers, please.
Who coaxed Fluttershy into leaving the relative safety of the bakery to head back home. Fluttershy wasn't wearing a costume, but that was okay.
Why?
This was only the second year that she had actually ventured outside of her cottage on Nightmare Night after all.
I mean, you're gonna come out for the second year and you don't even wear a costume. I mean, the first year I can understand, but the second year you're not even gonna dress up like as a bumblebee or something. You're just gonna be... Wow, Fluttershy, wow.
Pinkie could always try to convince Fluttershy to wear a costume next year. As her friends dispersed into the night, Pinkie faithfully remained at the door, smiling and waving. Only after the darkness had swallowed them up did Pinkie let go of the smile that hurt to hold in place, the smile that she could feel cracking around the edges. Tiredly, she turned around and glanced around the bakery's first floor.
I don't trust
Pinkie Pie. It truly was a sight to behold. Glittering cobwebs hung from every corner. Papier-mâché ghosts lurked in the windows. And over the rafters, there crisscrossed streamers in the range of dark gem hues. Never before had one of her parties been so beautifully decorated. And as much as Pinkie prided herself on her party abilities, she knew this time it had nothing to do with her.
Okay, when is the oh gosh, I feel an immense amount of discomfort, I want to leave the building right now feeling kind of come? Because I'm waiting for that, and I don't think I'm prepared for it.
She sighed.
Don't sigh like that, please.
A long, deep sigh that left her chest feeling empty.
Please don't sigh like that.
After taking another admiring look around, she stripped off her own costume. A white fluffy
why did you say strip?
And dropped it unceremoniously onto the floor.
Why is this
Turning off the bakery lights, she stepped outside and shut the door behind her.
There's an eyeball.
The clouds gleamed a ghostly silver as they crowded the skies above Ponyville, almost completely masking Luna's full moon. Fortunately, Pinkie Pie knew Ponyville as well as she knew the back of her own hoof, and she carefully trotted along the now hidden paths that led from Sugar Cube Corner down to Carousel Boutique. As Pinkie made her way through Ponyville,
this is where Rarity
the town's
comes in.
houses stood dark and still. All the candy had been eaten, and all the costumes had been put away. All the foals had been put into their bed.
You guys remember Something Sweet to Bite? Because I just got reminded of that. You know, the kind of, I wouldn't say short, but like the fanfic series where you had like this whole candy mare thing. Man, I gotta rewatch that sometime. That was a good series. You know, with the candy mare, you know, the something sweet to bite. Nightmare night, give me something sweet to bite. I hope you all remember that, because that was, if you have not watched that, search up something sweet to bite. Actually, does that give me the correct results if I search up something sweet to bite? Something. Yes. Written by Knackerman. And also Home Sweet Home. Something Sweet to Bite MLP in Home Sweet Home MLP. Watch it. It's so good. It's freaking good. Do it. Do it now.
To dream of zebras casting devilish spells.
Zebras.
And of nightmares given living pony form. Another nightmare night had almost reached its end. Almost, but not quite. The tip of Carousel Boutique's roof was the only thing truly visible as Pinky reached Rarity's home. The Earth Pony paused and shivered. The hour had grown late, and there was a chill that seeped into the bones. But despite the chattering in her teeth and the way her fur stood on end, the thought of turning back didn't even once cross her mind. She couldn't. This was too important.
What was important?
Rarity had not been at the party. And missed a Pinkie Pie party. It simply wasn't done.
Rarity's
it was barely conceivable.
Some things.
Even worse than missing one of her very best friends at the party, however, was the fact that Pinky knew exactly why Rarity hadn't come.
Oh.
Pinky knew exactly whose
Blood?
fault it was.
Oh.
Rarity had
Opal,
told her
the cat?
a secret. Last night,
secret?
they had been in the bakery, decorating for both the holiday and Pinky's party.
Give me the
Rarity
secret.
had brought
What's the
over
secret?
a box of supplies, ribbons and fabrics, and all manner of crafting items from her own personal stock.
Oh, it's gonna be
And
something
together,
real dark,
they
man.
worked while the hours flew by. Rarity had put up streamers, while Pinkie Pie had baked her cookies.
It's gonna
Pinkie
be
Pie
something
had arranged
really,
the tablecloths
really dark.
just so, while Rarity provided instructions, interspersed with the latest and juiciest town gossip. For hours, they had labored to make Sugar Cube Corner shine and sparkle like a spooky jewel.
Shine and sparkle
And then,
like the night.
when they had finally finished, Rarity asked Pinky to sit down with her for a cup of tea and a plate of scones. Pinky didn't remember
Scones?
the
Who eats
exact words
scones?
she'd said.
What do scones even look like? I've seen them in cartoons, but what do scones look like in real life? Hello? There we go. Scones. Scones on Google. Oh. They're like biscuits. Oh, they're just like, oh my god, I want some scones now. Oh my god. Somebody give me some scones. Jesus. Criminy. I want some scones now.
But she thanked Rarity for coming over, for all the supplies and all the decorating. Giggling a bit, Rarity had reached across the table and laid her hoof over Pinky's own.
Don't do that.
Pinky had grinned at Rarity.
Don't do that
had
either.
Grinned even bigger than before.
Stop grinning. Stop.
And Rarity had grinned back.
Oh my god, please.
It hurt. Now, to remember that grin, to feel that keen absence of its warmth and its affection. Pinky should have known, perhaps, when Rarity's eyes darkened and when Rarity's voice trembled. Perhaps Pinky should have realized the secret that Rarity had to share. But she hadn't. She hadn't, and because she hadn't, she'd been caught by surprise. And so, Pinky had done what she had nearly always did when she didn't know what else to do. She laughed.
Shared it.
She laughed. A big bark of laugh. And even though
I don't even know what Rarity's secret is, but you should not have laughed. You should not have laughed. Oh no, oh no.
Swallowed it down as quickly as she could. The damage had been done.
Oh.
She had known it instantly too. And she had known it even without seeing the hope in Rarity's face crumble like a cold castle wall, and the light in Rarity's eyes fade away like a ghost.
I'm sorry,
she had said in a stark tone, not sounding sorry at all, as abruptly as she stood.
I didn't realize you would react So, well, no matter. I was obviously mistaken, and I do apologize.
Oh no. Oh no.
And
Rarity,
Pinky hadn't
please,
seen
Rarity.
Rarity since. All tonight,
no.
throughout the entire party,
no.
she'd found her eyes drifting towards the front door, just in case a late partygoer happened to arrive. Every time she heard the door open, her heart leapt at the thought that it might be Rarity who had come walking in, with that dazzling smile and words of forgiveness on her lips. But Rarity never did. Now, standing in the front of the boutique, staring up at its imposing spires as the wind howled through the empty streets of the town,
This is not good.
Pinky hesitated. She rubbed one foreleg up and down the other, frowning thoughtfully. On the one hoof, she and Rarity really needed to talk. That's what friends were supposed to do when things weren't right. Pinky knew nothing would get better until they talked. On the other hoof, the boutique's living room windows were completely dark, and the hour had grown much later than was probably acceptable for a social visit, strictly speaking. The wind continued its lonely, whistling dirge, and Pinky wished it hadn't been so cold. It was hard to think when it was so cold.
I think we should go visit Rarity.
Desperate for something, anything that would ease the ache in her chest. Her prayer was answered by a lit candle, shining dimly through the drawn curtains of the upper story window in the boutique.
Okay, I'm calling it now. Candles, you know, those like waxy things that feels like wax, and you light them on fire. I feel like that's going to be very important to this story. Because one, you see what's in Pinky's eye right now, it's a candle! And where you have the candle, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a whole thing. Just wait. It's going to be a thing.
For the first time since she'd left Sugar Cube Corner, Pinky smiled. Stepping forward, she rapped quickly on the boutique's front door and waited.
This is the police.
By, like drops from a leaking faucet, and the door stayed shut. Pinky pressed her ear up against the door. Nothing. Nothing so much as a cough or even a whisper could be heard from inside. Pinky reached for the doorknob and gave it a good pull, but the door remained stubbornly closed. Pinky frowned.
But Rarity never locks her door.
The earth pony backed up a few steps and stared up at the window above, where the candle flickered behind the curtains and glass, reaching out to her with its promise of warmth.
I think the candle
light,
is
and
the
Rarity.
ghost of Rarity.
Pinky bit her lip. Twilight had told her it was very rude to barge in on other ponies' houses, and Pinky supposed that Twilight was probably right. Twilight usually was, but still, this was important. A sort of creeping dread churned in her stomach, heavy and oppressive. And Pinky decided that this time, Twilight simply had to be wrong. With a resolute nod, Pinky trotted around the perimeter of the boutique. She kept her ears perked, and when she heard the sudden clatter of her own hooves against the wood, she stopped. Directly beneath her lay the door to Rarity's basement. Ages ago, Rarity had asked Applejack to come board it up, so Foles wouldn't be able to lift the latch and fall down the stairs. But Pinky was prepared. She always traveled ready for any and all kinds of emergencies. And she pulled out a screwdriver she had tucked away for just such a situation. Quickly, she wedged its tip underneath the nailed-down boards, using the screwdriver's handle as a lever
Breaking and
to pry
entering.
open the wooden planks one by one. The basement proved dark and stank of old rot and mildew. A suffocating stench that choked like a garrote.
What kind of old rot?
And Pinky tripped over mostly obscured roadblocks as she picked her way across the room. The door leading back outside slammed shut behind her, echoing throughout the large subterranean room.
Well, you're dead,
Pinky
Pinky.
stifled
It was
a
nice
yelp.
knowing you.
Whereas before the room had been dark, Now it was utterly pitch black. By memory,
Goodbye, Rarity.
Pinky felt her way towards the stairs that led up to the first floor of the boutique. Still, she heard nothing except the too loud sound of her own hooves against the concrete. Pinky would have thought it unnerving had she been the type of pony to get unnerved. She breathed a sigh of relief upon reaching the door leading upstairs.
Oh, thank
as
God.
she pushed it open and stumbled into the blessedly fresh air of Rarity's
Yes.
kitchen. But the relief was short-lived, as almost instantly a voice called out from the second floor.
Who is it? Who's down there?
Pinky squared her shoulders.
It's only Rarity.
This
It's only
was it.
Rarity.
This
It's
was
only
her
Rarity.
chance to make things right.
It's only Rarity.
It's me, Pinkie Pie.
She called back in a voice as cheerful as possible.
Okay.
There was a long pause, long enough that Pinky wondered if maybe Rarity hadn't heard her.
Oh my God,
Finally,
you're scaring me.
Rarity replied.
Please.
You must leave the house. Now, Pinky.
Her
Oh,
voice sounded ragged and rough, like an unpolished stone, almost as though she had been crying.
I will talk to you tomorrow if you want. But right now you have to leave.
Undeterred,
Okay.
Pinky had made a beeline for the stairs that led to the boutique's upper story. The stairs...
So this is a classic setup, you know. Somebody's just like, nah, please leave. And the other one's just like, nah, I won't leave. It's a classic setup.
creaked under hooves with each step, and they sounded almost painfully loud in the otherwise dead silent house.
I can't leave until we talk. Because I know you're really upset with me, Rarity, and I don't want you to be. I'm not upset. Please, Pinky, go away.
Pinky flinched as though struck, but stubbornly she pressed on. On the second floor,
Don't
the door
open
to
that door.
Rarity's room
Don't
was
do
the
it.
only one closed. Hints of the candlelight peeked out into the hallway, making it look as though an unearthly halo glowed around the entire door.
She's gonna
Pinky
open the door.
reached forward and
She's
placed a
gonna open the
hoof
door.
on the doorknob,
She's
only
gonna
to
open the
find
door.
that this door was locked as well. She supposed that she shouldn't be surprised.
Rarity,
Rarity.
can you come unlock the door? So we can talk and make up and hug
Yeah.
and be best friends
hug.
again.
Yeah, hugs.
Oh, please, just go away.
It hurt.
Damn.
Dear Celestia, how it hurt to hear those words being spat out at her. And worse,
There's good
being
reason for it,
said
though.
in that tone. Not anger, not exasperation, but sad, fearful. Pinky only hesitated a moment before reaching again for her trusty screwdriver. This was all her fault. Her fault that Rarity
What do you mean
was
screwdriver?
sad.
What do you, wait,
Her
whoa,
fault
whoa,
that
whoa, 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 whoa. What do you mean trusty screwdriver? Pinkie Pie is just like, Oh, I've been in this situation countless times. Let me pull out my screwdriver. What do you mean? Just walk up to the local Walmart and just a situation arises at the Walmart and just like, screwdriver. I got it, man. You want it, I got it.
That Rarity was crying, and that meant it was up to her to make things better, no matter what it took. Apologies could come after.
What is that noise? What is it you're doing out there? I'm coming in so we can talk. No!
From the other side of the door came a series of scratching sounds, as though
Scratching.
Rarity was scrambling for something.
Mouse?
Don't you dare come into this room. Pinky, I'm serious.
Desperation rippled in Rarity's voice, stripped bare of all of its usual genteelness. And Pinky's stomach cramped
I
in
feel like
response.
she has a
Gritting
dead
her
body.
teeth, she forced herself to keep working on the lock. Fixing now, apologies later.
Listen to me, Pinky. The sky, it won't stay cloudy forever. The sky?
What?
She turned
did
to
not
glance
understand
with
what she said.
furrowed brows down the hallway. Sure enough, slight illumination trickled out the open doors of the other rooms. Spidery fingers
like
of
she's
pale
doing a ritual.
moonlight creeping along the hallway floors. A sudden slam from the other side of the bedroom door caused Pinky to jump.
Piano?
Whirling back around, she stared at the door, blinking, her breath coming in ragged little bursts. Maybe it was only because it was so dark that it looked like the door had splintered a little down the middle. Just a trick of the light. A shadowy illusion.
Shadow?
Promise.
Came a growl.
Werewolf?
Barely Rarity.
Werewolf.
Barely
Werewolf.
even echoing
Werewolf.
from
Werewolf.
within the bedroom.
It's a werewolf!
Pinky, promise.
The earth pony worked her jaw.
It's a werewolf!
No words came forth. She stood rooted to the carpet of the hallway, paralyzed. All she could think of was how much she wanted to see Rarity's face, to gather up Rarity within her forelegs, and yet her body utterly refused to move.
Promise.
Rarity's voice was even louder now.
What am I
as
promising?
though she was pressing right up against the door.
Promise you won't unlock the door.
I can't. I'm sorry, Rarity, but I can't.
Bruh.
Pinky swallowed thickly.
You can
She
obviously
felt
tell she's
nauseous.
a werewolf, so just
Already unlocked.
bounce out.
Another slam against the door.
Oh.
Hard enough that the door shuddered in its jam. Still,
the door.
Pinky didn't move.
You foolish.
It is a werewolf!
A third slam, the hardest yet, sounding like a cannon blast in an otherwise still house. Then the door cracked open, just a few inches. The smell of something like sulfur, sour and putrid, hit Pinky's senses first.
Yes.
She gagged on the stench and staggered back a few steps. Only then, with a bit of distance, did she notice the pair of eyes staring out at her from the small opening in the doorway. That same lovely shade of blue she knew so well, dark and deep like the
Pinky,
ocean.
you're going to die.
And yet, not quite the same. They glittered in a way Pinky had never seen before, practically pulsating with a strange and malevolent light. They stared out at Pinky, unblinking, unwavering, unnatural. Rarity's eyes. And yet somehow, not Rarity.
Rarity?
Run, whispered
Ooh.
not Rarity. Pinky's hooves moved without conscious thought, taking the stairs 2 or 3 at a time, her heart in her...
Yo, can we dwell on that run, though? That run, Bro. That was some, That was a kind of run. Oh, my God.
in her throat. Behind her, she heard the bedroom door crash open. A second later, came the thuds of hooves against...
Okay. So, Rarity's a werewolf, right? Is she a hot werewolf, though? You know what I'm saying? Okay, we're moving on.
stairs, coming quick and fast and thundering loudly. Pinky skidded to a halt right before smashing face first into the front door of the boutique, and her forehoof scrambling to the doorknob so she could...
Screwdriver.
Locked.
Screwdriver.
Somehow the door was
Screwdriver.
locked from outside. The question of how that had happened and why crossed her mind for the slightest of moments, until the
Maybe
smell
it's
of hot
not a
sulfur
werewolf.
sent her sprinting once again. She whipped around a corner and headed for the kitchen. If she could just reach the basement, she could leave the same way she had come in. She could escape and make a run for Twilight's, and she would know what to do. Skidding across the kitchen's linoleum, Pinky threw herself against the slightly ajar door that led to the basement. She tumbled down the stairs, and as the door slammed shut behind her, once again, Pinky found herself plunged into total darkness.
Nice.
With agonizing slowness,
Nice approach.
she waded through the sea of junk scattered along the basement floor, stumbling over a box here, tripping over a raised pile.
And the whole concept of just being in the dark reminds me of this one audio fanfic reading that I listened to. I'd say about definitely over a year ago. It was like Fluttershy was stuck in this endless just area of darkness, like the void, basically. And basically, all she could do was just walk and wander around in this total darkness. And in the darkness was some sort of creature that you wouldn't know where it is at all until you hear, like, just faint scraping in a certain direction. And it was basically coming to kill you. I think it was called Endless or something like that. But I remember being kind of freaked out by it. And then the ending was a little weird, and I was like, huh? I don't understand. And it got less creepy. I don't remember. Also, I think Discord was in it for some reason. Don't know why Discord was in it.
Pipe there. Finally, she reached the door that led back outside, and she pushed up against it. It didn't budge.
Bruh.
Pinky shoved harder, putting her whole weight into the effort, but it wouldn't give an inch.
It's magic.
Pinky whirled around
magic.
near the top of the stairs, directly in front of the still shut door. Pinky could see a pair of gleaming blue eyes. She shouldn't have been able to see those eyes. She shouldn't have been able to see anything in the dark basement. But there they are, like twin lighthouses, threatening danger.
The doors, that is. It's magic meant to keep me trapped inside. She doesn't like it much when I come out to play.
Pinky pressed her body against the basement wall, her sweat cold and clammy against the concrete, and tried to control her breathing. Stand up tall. Nice, slow breaths. Stand up tall and don't look away.
Hold on, I'm trying to fix my Lego.
You're trapped too, aren't you, Pinky? She never thought of that. Foolish me. Who are you?
I'm
Pinky
your
managed to
conscience. This
stammer
is your
out,
conscience speaking.
the words scratching her throat like thorns.
Now that would be telling, wouldn't it? And I do know how strongly you feel about keeping secrets. Let's just say I'm an example of why you oughtn't underestimate the powers of the elements of harmony. Or
What?
perils.
Keep breathing.
Perils? What do you mean the perils? Do you mean the parallels? Are you just speaking bad? Parallels? Is it parallels? Perils? What is peril? I'm in peril! I'm in danger! That's what I'm getting.
Breathing. Just keep breathing. As quietly as she could, Pinky began edging her way around the perimeter of the room. Her gaze never faltered. Her gaze never left those glowing eyes, and in turn, those horrible eyes never left hers. Stay standing. Baby steps. One hoof after the other.
Generosity is so very last year, darling. Survival
Yeah.
of the fittest is what's in, what's fresh, what's now.
What are you,
And
the
I'm
candy
afraid
mare?
only one of us shall be surviving this night.
Pinky said nothing.
And it will
She
be me.
simply continued her slow crawl, back pressed against the sturdy, comforting concrete, until she finally found what she had been searching for. Instead of rough concrete behind her, it was smooth, cold glass. Not quite perfect, perhaps, but good enough. At least she'd hoped it'd be good enough.
Alright, stab her with the
response,
glass.
No quip, no pun, no silly little joke.
After a pause, perhaps meant for Pinky to respond, the eyes began descending the stairs.
Very well. Then we'll have to play a different game, I suppose.
Game?
The
I love
doorway
games.
was open now, unobstructed, but Pinky kept her attention locked on the blue eyes that seemed to be floating in midair. Slowly, deliberately, almost languidly, the eyes approached her, tracking her, stalking her. Slow, deep breaths. Keep breathing. Just keep breathing. Suddenly, the eyes were gone. Like somebody had blown out a candle. Pinky strained to peer.
Well, she could have just closed her eyes. I mean, you know, it's not that hard to do. I could do it. I can close my eyes. See, watch. I just closed them. You guys saw that, right? Right?
Peer through the darkness all around her to get some hint as to where Not Rarity might have gone. But she saw nothing, heard nothing. She had to fight down the urge to bolt for the door. Instead, she stood motionless, holding her breath and listening intently.
My poor dear Pinky. So lost, so confused.
Not Rarity's voice sounded as though it came from nowhere and from everywhere. And Pinky's head hurt from how mixed up she felt. Stubbornly, she locked her knees to stop them from shaking and did her utmost to ignore the pounding of her heart. And then she smelt it. The sulfur. She gagged when the stink of it hit her, but she didn't move. She didn't flinch.
You know, what is sulfur? Besides being a chemical element, what is sulfur? What is sulfur? Like, can I get, like, an image of sulfur? Oh. What the heck? It's a crystal, but also, like, a rock? Rarity? What are you doing with rocks? Actually, that was a stupid question. That was a really stupid question.
Flinch. She waited quietly, nervously, still listening for a cough or sneeze, or heavy breathing, something, anything. And then her tail started violently twitching. Pinky leapt forward.
Pinky said, "Oh!"
Less than a second later, she heard the crash of a mirror shattering into 100 little shards, followed by a high yelp of pain. Wasting no time, Pinky dashed towards the stairs, only tripping once along the way before she managed to reach the door. She
Only
threw
once.
it open
New record.
and blinked rapidly as the moonlight from the kitchen assaulted her eyes. Now autopilot on, she headed for the second floor, for Rarity's bedroom. She panted heavily as she ran, thick saliva coating her throat, tearing through the shadowy house with its 2 long halls. Her heart hammered against her ribcage, and her blood pounded in her ears like a drum. But even through all that, it was impossible to miss the sound of the thing that was not Rarity, as down below it clambered back into the kitchen.
What if it is
Pinky
Rarity?
found the scattered remains of the door in Rarity's bedroom, lying in the hallway, and leapt over its splintered corpse and into the room beyond. The candle in the windowsill still burned, and long thin shadows danced along the walls and floor. Pinky's eyes scanned quickly across the bedroom, seeking, searching for anything that might be useful.
Come on, Pinky,
Bed,
you got this.
dressers, table, chair. Eventually, but perhaps inevitably, her gaze fell upon the tiny flickering...
What? What? Wait, what? No, like, actually, though, like, huh? No, seriously. What was that? No, wait, no, like, actually, though. No, I'm sorry, what? Hold on, that was the worst timing imaginable. I swear to God, it is not what it looks like. I don't know what the frick that was. Oh my God, it's going to be like a year from now. If I ever get like 100k subs or something, and like there's people watching this video, there's gonna be so many people just like, hey, wait a minute, bro, what up with that, my guy? You know, it's not what it looks like.
The flame of the candle. Just a second later, she was joined by those wicked, soulless eyes, and for the first time, Pinky actually got a look at her pursuer. A huge shadow stood over 2 ponies tall, with a vaguely canine head and a broad, powerful body. Those blue eyes shone hard and cold as diamonds.
It's a werewolf.
The corners of the shadow's massive jaw were pulled back and up, an ugly parody of a grin, until finally, it noticed the candle held between Pinky's front hooves.
Oh, it's the candle wears it off.
Bluffing. You wouldn't dare hurt Rarity.
The shadow sounded
But you're
hesitant,
not Rarity.
slightly
Are you?
unsure. Pinky took a step forward.
You're not Rarity.
Shadow
I
licked
said
its jaws,
that.
a strangely contemplative gesture.
Perhaps not.
It lowered its head so that they were now eye to eye.
And perhaps I was wrong. After all, you've already hurt Rarity, haven't you?
Ooh. Yeah.
Pinky frowned. It was a trick.
Yeah, you did.
And she knew it was a trick. But the trick worked its poison. And all at once the event...
What if Pinky, you just chucked the candle out just chuck the candle out her at her. Chuck the candle at her. And problem solved. Just do it real quick before you get manipulated even more. Just do it.
Events of last night rushed back to her. The dark quiet of Sugar Cube Corner. Tea, gossip, and giggles, restrained just enough to avoid waking the twins. Rarity's hoof on hers, heavy and warm. Rarity's eyes, eager, brilliant, not hard or cold in the least. The secret, the laugh, that terrible look on Rarity's face, of something breaking, of
You better
something
know the secret.
dying, followed by the sudden stiff formality, and an ache deep in Pinky's chest, like a maelstrom sucking down all the joy, as Pinky had watched her friend walk right out that door. Across the bedroom, the shadow didn't move, neither forward to attack nor backwards to retreat. It just stood there, staring,
Menacingly.
waiting patiently, like a cat playing with a mouse. Swallowing hard, Pinky took another step forward.
We don't have all
holding
day,
the candle
Pinky.
like
Make
a
your
sword
choice.
at the ready.
I never meant to hurt her. I never, ever, ever hurt one of my friends on purpose. Especially not Rarity.
Your lies will
Especially.
do nothing for you. I hope you realize that.
I'm not lying. That's why I came here tonight, you know? To say I'm sorry and make things better.
Lies.
Nah,
You
it's
heard
the truth.
everything I had to say and you laughed at me. Her. At her. Cruel and you were heartless.
You're the
Pinky's
one
ears
lying.
twitched, and she took a deep breath. Still, her heart
You're lying.
raced
Not
quicker than
Rarity.
she had ever guessed it could, and still her breathing sounded too ragged in her ears. But the fear, while still present, was different now, deeper, and impossibly even scarier. Pinky had never been a pony to think before she spoke, to plan out what she would say or how she'd say it, but she knew whatever she had to say next had to be exactly right. What she
I'll be Pinky here. Enchiladas. That's what I would say.
said next mattered more than anything else she had ever said, and it was not just for her own sake. So, she used those precious few moments of silence to think and plan and offer a wordless prayer to whatever or whoever might be listening. The candle between her hooves felt as though it weighed as much as a boulder. Finally, looking straight into those blue eyes, Pinky whispered,
You don't have to be the bad guy.
I'm so sorry I hurt you, Rarity.
Damn.
Surprised, okay? I was surprised, and sometimes my mouth kind of reacts before my brain can think up something smart to say, because sometimes I'm not a very smart pony, and I'm really super sorry.
What is
Suddenly,
the
the
secret?
shadow's grin came back.
Oh, wait a minute. The dots are connecting. Oh my god. Okay, so you guys don't know this, but I also have like my Chromebook like just sitting like to the left of me, and so I have it on my YouTube recommended just homepage, and it has the video I'm watching right now as the recommended, and so it says Into Darkness fanfic reading, grimdark, and it's a romance. So I've been waiting for the romance thing to happen for like the past 20 minutes now, and I'm assuming that there's a romance between Pinkie Pie and Rarity. So I'm assuming that maybe the secret would be romance related, and maybe the secret was that Rarity is lesbian. That's just my theory so far. I think that's the secret. I think that is the secret. And it would be very, very bad for Pinkie to laugh at that. So, yeah.
A bit smaller and less cocky than before.
You're only sorry now, of course.
No.
I don't know. But it's a little too late. It won't save you.
I never thought saying I'm sorry would save me.
The grin grew larger, becoming a smirk, and the shadow slunk forward.
A beautiful little candle isn't going to stop me.
Oh, I
You've
thought it
no
was.
idea what I can do. No idea what I truly am. When I'm finished with...
Last night, you told me that you loved me. That's what's gonna...
I'm so smart.
save me.
At that, the shadow froze. Perhaps it was simply
Can I
Pinky's
get an
imagination.
amen? Can I get an
A
amen?
trick of the dimming light.
Yes.
But she could swear that the shadow's eyes softened just a bit, became just a little less stone.
Are you quite certain about that, darling?
The words were
Yes.
soft,
I'm blocking it
barely
in.
audible,
I'm blocking
still
it in.
spoken in that gravelly tone.
This is
still
Wheel of
slightly
Fortune.
mocking, brutal as a sledgehammer, and precise as a scalpel, and yet...
If you really wanted to hurt me, you could have done it already. This whole
It's
time
true.
we've been talking, you could have done something, but you didn't. It's
true.
gotta mean something.
It's very
Pinky
true.
hazarded a
Good
glance
point,
down
Pinky.
at the candle,
Give me a high five.
at its warm
give me a
and
bro.
glowing flame, before returning her gaze to those deep blue eyes across from her.
But even if it doesn't, even if I'm wrong, one thing I'm absolutely positively sure about, I'm not gonna hurt you. Not now, not ever.
The shadow shook its head, slowly,
Damn.
almost sadly. Pinky didn't know what that meant. She decided it was best not to think too much about that. Pinkie Pie smiled gently into those blue eyes.
You wanna know why, Rarity?
The shadow didn't speak. It only just kept staring,
Because I love you too.
said Pinky, leaning forward
Nice.
to blow out the
Let's
candle.
get it on. Oh, you're blowing it.
The room fell into darkness.
Don't end it there. You had to end it there. You couldn't just... Right when you had me at my peak interest, you pull me right back out. You pushed me in and then you just took me right out. Just... Oh my god. Okay, well, that was pretty good though. Pretty solid writing. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Of course, the voice acting was on point. The sound work was on point. Everything was just on point. Damn. I do like how subtle the whole romance kind of thing is. Because there's just this little tiny, very tiny seeds planted that will make you kind of give you clues. Especially, the most notable one in being especially rarity. Like, that is, like, the most prominent clue. But still, it is just very, very subtle, and I like that. It puts the focus on the dynamic between Rarity and Pinky, and kind of the horror aspect of it, without completely shutting out the whole romance side of it. You know? And it makes sense, you know, to have the secret in the beginning and kind of have you guessing. It's, you know, more fun to guess what it's going to be. It's nice. Nice. Still hate that you I don't know who wrote this, actually. I didn't look at who wrote this. But I hate that the person who wrote this ended it there. Like, why would you do this? Why? Why? You couldn't just make them kiss or something? You couldn't give me a resolution? Did Pinky die? I don't know if Pinky died. I would die. I'm going to die.